Welcome to our show, diving right into the fascinating world of a musical dynasty,
Yeah, absolutely.
where soulful R&B, gospel passion, and pop brilliance come together in a story that's as legendary as it is heartbreaking.
Absolutely. It's amazing how the DeBarge family, hailing from Grand Rapids,
Yeah,
Michigan, managed to fuse their rich gospel roots with Motown magic.
right. And it's so interesting how each family member not only contributed their own unique vocal color and
Exactly.
musical style, but also carried the weight of personal struggles that somehow turned pain into artistic brilliance.
Yeah, the juxtaposition of their tender harmonies with a turbulent life story is so compelling, like it's almost as if their music was created in a crucible of both light and shadow, you know?
Yeah, indeed. Exactly. It's like they were born into an environment filled with both inspiration and harsh reality, growing up under the guidance of a devoted gospel singing mother and a complex military influenced father, shaping not just their
Absolutely.
sound but their very spirit.
Speaking of their heritage, the contrast is striking. On one hand, you've got that soulful, tender influence coming from Eteline, the matriarch, and on the other,
Yeah,
there were the
truly.
demons of abuse, poverty, and later addiction that seeped into their lives.
Right, take for instance Bunny, the eldest sibling whose warm contralto and impeccable sense for harmonies formed the emotional heart
Yeah.
for the group, really holding the band's spirit together even in the darkest moments.
And her contributions weren't just musical, but also deeply personal, like co writing hits such as I Like It and A
Yeah,
Dream,
exactly.
tracks that mirror not just success, but a raw vulnerability.
Right. And then you have Bobby, whose ethereal falsetto and multi instrumentalist genius really transformed the sound,
Yes.
even though his own life was marked by tragedy and his battle with addiction.
True, Bobby's voice was like a phoenix rising, infusing every track with this kind of haunting energy. But, you know, it's impossible to ignore the heartbreaking weight of his
Yeah, for
struggles.
sure.
His legacy remains both inspiring and cautionary.
Now, what's really compelling is how even the quieter members like Tommy managed to lay down the rhythmic and grounding forces behind the family sound, offering that bass and instrumental prowess that provided stability amidst the chaos, even as his own health battles
Right.
cast a long shadow over his later years.
Yeah, Tommy was sort of the secret force behind much of the early development, doing his part quietly, almost like an unsung hero. His
Exactly.
steady influence was critical to the group's evolution.
And let's not forget Randy, the backbone of the beat. His robust tenor and rhythmic intuition brought that irresistible pulse to hits like Rhythm of the Night and All This Love, powering the
Yeah,
dance
absolutely.
floors and still living on in the memories of many listeners today.
Indeed, it's fascinating how Randy's blending of gospel fervor with pop appeal made their music universally
Yeah,
infectious.
totally.
It's like every beat he laid down was a pulse of the family's hope and resilience.
Then we have Marty, the silent spark, the creative virtuoso whose smooth vocals and multi instrumental talents wove subtle yet intricate layers into the DeBarge sound.
Exactly.
Even if his work often stayed in the background, it was absolutely essential.
Right. Marty's contributions, especially on tracks like Stay With Me, have echoed across decades, influencing hip
You
hop and
bet.
R&B alike as producers and artists sampled his work.
And then there's Elle, who, with that angelic falsetto and striking stage presence, became the breakout star of the family.
Yeah, yes.
His solo ventures showed us all just how celestial his voice can truly be, echoing the spirit of the 80s and beyond.
I mean, Elle's music wasn't just popular. It resonated on a deeply emotional level, capturing both the joy and the sorrow of his journey. His
Absolutely.
signature tone remains a benchmark in R&B, don't you think?
Absolutely. And then you got James, arguably the romantic rebel of the clan, whose rich baritone and dramatic flair brought a dose of swagger and raw emotion. Even if his
Exactly.
story was marred by personal missteps, his impact was undeniable.
Yeah, James's life was, well, tumultuous and a bit of a
Yeah,
maverick's tale.
definitely.
His romanticism and defiance added that contrast, making the overall narrative even more complex.
Not to be overlooked is Chico, whose independent solo career carved out a niche distinct from the group's collective glow.
Right.
His raw, streetwise edge and determination allowed him to build a separate identity while still staying true to the DeBarge DNA.
It's like he was the rebel who didn't conform to the family mold, embodying that
Exactly.
rugged, unpolished quality that really speaks to a different audience.
And then on the quieter side of the spectrum, we have Carol Peaches and Daryl Young, the tail end siblings, who, while not as thrust into the limelight, have their own
Yeah,
understated
absolutely.
brilliance, reflecting a more introspective and sober take on the family legacy.
Right, Carol, with her gentle demeanor, opted for a life more grounded and personal, showing that sometimes being away from the intense glare of fame can be its own kind of art. And Daryl's evolution into a solo artist later
Indeed.
on speaks to a quiet yet persistent creative force.
Exactly. Daryl's journey with his debut solo album, Turning Point, demonstrates that even in the midst of a family defined by monumental success and public scandal, there's room for reinvention and individuality. It really
Right on.
highlights the evolution of an artist over time.
Now, I do wonder, though, don't you think that at times the romanticized view of their musical genius can overshadow the serious human costs involved?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
we're talking about a family that endured abuse, addiction, and even loss in ways few can imagine.
I totally agree. There's that inherent tension between celebrating their extraordinary talent and acknowledging the very real struggles behind the scenes. It's a reminder that
Exactly.
brilliance often comes at a steep personal price.
Right, and it's this duality, the shimmering highs of groundbreaking hits and the deep, sometimes painful lows of personal tragedy that really makes the DeBarge story so multifaceted and resonant.
Indeed.
It's both inspiring and heart-wrenching.
Yeah, it's like when you listen to a track that soars with positivity and joy, you can also hear the echoes of their hardships, almost like every note is steeped in a bittersweet
totally.
backstory. That contrast is what gives their music such lasting power.
And even decades later, their influence persists, not just in classic R&B, but in modern hip-hop too, with samples and references keeping their legacy alive, showing how their impact
exactly.
transcends time and genre.
Right. Modern artists often tap into that soulful spirit, borrowing from the rich tapestry of harmonies and emotions that the DeBarges wove into their tracks. It's like their voices continue to
absolutely.
echo in the new rhythms of today.
I find it fascinating how their story, marked by resilience against all odds, serves as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the darkest moments, art can shine.
Yeah, indeed.
Turning pain into something beautiful and enduring.
Totally. And it really speaks to that multifaceted legacy the DeBarges have, where the allure isn't just in the catchy hooks or the heavenly falsettos, but in that layered narrative of survival, reinvention, and soulful expression,
yes.
a true symphony of life itself.
Now, if I may respectfully challenge one point, sometimes the narrative of turning pain into art might overshadow the need for addressing the real systemic issues that allowed such personal tragedies to compound, but it's also a call for
Yeah, I see what you mean.
deeper reflection on how society handles its most vulnerable artists.
That's a fair point. You could say the DeBarge story not only celebrates musical genius, but also forces us to confront the societal failures that contributed to their
exactly.
struggles. A reminder that behind every hit, there can be a history of hardship that we must acknowledge.
And ultimately, their legacy remains a testament to the intense, often painful beauty that can arise when life's challenges are met with resilience and raw creative spirit. It's a
Absolutely.
story that continues to inspire and, well, move us on so many levels.
Yeah, so as we reflect on this multifaceted narrative, a blend of triumphant sound and deep-seated struggles, we can appreciate how the DeBarge family not only defined an era in R&B, but also contributed an enduring lesson in like human complexity and the redemptive power of music,
Yeah,
a
indeed.
legacy that's as timeless as it is thought-provoking.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating intersection of art, heritage, and human experience that continues to resonate, reminding us that even amidst the shadows, there is always a light, bright, soulful, and unforgettable, much
Exactly.
like the echoes of their everlasting music.
Well said. The DeBarge family's journey is a symphony of both sorrow and strength. And as we continue to hear its notes in today's music, it remains a powerful reminder of art's extraordinary ability to transform lives.
Absolutely.
A legacy truly written in the language of the soul.
And that's what makes conversations like these so enriching, diving deep into a story where every chord tells a story and every lyric is a testament to overcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for this amazing deep dive discussion into such a layered and influential legacy.